A big welcome to the thousands of new subscribers the last few days. Thank you for being part of this weather community. Tons of new subscribers all across Europe. Thank you for joining. Let's get to the new systems rolling in. We have one spin here sitting just off toward the west of Ireland watching this. But with that said, there's a bigger one on the way, a really sloppy mess that's going to dive down as we get into the upcoming weekend, change the pattern, and bring a significant flood threat and severe weather threat, especially by early next week. I want to show you that. This area is building well back, coming off back toward the west, off toward the Atlantic region of Canada. This is going to dive across the North Atlantic. That spin is going to bring some windy weather, some rain to some of us who need it, and dive right into the heat. And that is going to cause some of those storms to really fire up. Now, what we've been watching, some areas getting the rain, no doubt. Others have been way too dry. And of course, if we're on the dry side this time of year, we're also dealing with a lot of that heat. Been watching some of the rain that has been around already for today. But again, the bigger system starts to work in for the weekend, and that's what we're going to track in this video. Been watching some of the rain as we slide back toward parts of Ireland. We get over toward parts of England, though, mainly on the dry side. Some of us with the rain, others not much at all. And then you see some scattered areas of rain that are around. Still some thunderstorms will be a potential in some spots. So as we're looking over toward, you get over toward the Netherlands, swinging back toward Germany, we have some of that rain that's around Czechia as well. And even that chance of some thunderstorms, monitoring that as we work our way into northern Poland. But a little bit of a spin sitting right in here, drawing even some of those showers as we get back toward Latvia, Lithuania, seeing some of those showers, and then swinging back over toward parts of Denmark. We've been seeing some of the rain. Norway, Sweden, south side also getting some of that rain that will be around. But again, keeping an eye off to the west for that bigger area that's about to move in. That's going to dive into the heat. Look at some of the heat, for example. This is just one sampling. Madrid today will be right around 39 degrees. As we work our way into Sunday, there will be a temperature drop-off, still on the warm to hot side for a lot of us. But as that next area moves in, it runs right into this heat that we're going to have this weekend. That's all going to set the stage for some bigger storms early next week. So let's track it. Let me show you what's coming. Here's the big picture. Again, watching that spin for today, watching some of that additional rain that I was just tracking for us in Ireland. And you see even some thunderstorms pulling back toward Germany and Poland. That little spin right around as we work our way into the weekend, sliding over toward Ukraine. Now, diving out in time here, this is by Saturday. Here comes the next system. This is the one that will bring a sloppy mess through parts of the UK and Ireland this weekend, and then move across. And look what happens as we work our way into next week. A very broad spin right in here, Norway, Denmark, swinging all the way down through France. So a very large area, not the most powerful area, but a very large area, but it plows right into the very hot, unstable air. And look what happens on Monday. These brighter colors popping up, even parts of Norway, all the way down through northern Italy, Austria. We're talking some really big storms. Significant flooding is going to be a potential for some of us by next week. So giving you the heads up early on this channel. Now, watching this system that's going to work its way in by the time we get into the weekend as we work our way toward Ireland and the UK. You can see it here. Some of this white shading right in through here. So those would be winds right around 50 miles per hour in kilometers an hour to keep everyone covered on this. But here comes the spin on Saturday. With it, a better chance of rain. Hopefully get some rain where we need it in parts of England moving across. But some gusty winds with this. You see that white shading showing up on Sunday. This area of low pressure will be sitting right on top of London by the time we get into Sunday. Very broad spin. Some of us getting the rain, some of us not. But some gusty winds, 40, 50 mile per hour winds. And that will slide its way right across over toward parts of Amsterdam, Brussels, Luxembourg, Paris. I mentioned as we get our way into France. This spin works in Sunday into Monday, and then we watch out for the potential of significant weather as far as storms go. Now, let me start here and then dive ahead into the storm outlook. This is by the time we get into later today. See how some of that rain just kind of fizzles out as it works its way back toward Wales in Scotland. Then as we get into tomorrow, another shot of rain. Wales and England. Another shot of rain tomorrow as we work our way into Scotland, down through Northern Ireland and Ireland. But as we get into Friday, not much in the way of rain. Again, still for England. But here comes that next system. This starts to work in. You could see it here by Saturday. I mentioned some of the gusty winds with it. A big sloppy, sprawly system as we work our way into Sunday, into Monday. And you see it here. Better chance of rain pulling through the British Isles and then swinging back toward the Netherlands. Belgium, better chance of some of that rain swinging back toward Denmark, not only Sunday, but also as we work our way into Monday. So as we get deeper down the road, speaking of which, on Monday, giving you the heads up, that's why I do this channel, let you know where the big weather is going to go. Look at this by Monday as this area works in. Parts of Poland, for example, keeping an eye on parts of Germany. We'll see how this sets up. We're going to have some spots of 175 millimeters of some rain, big time rain, chance of thunderstorms, as I mentioned, stretching all the way back towards Sweden and Norway with this. Czechia will get some of those bigger storms that will be around. So let me track that, and then I'll swing to the south. So this here is for today. Here's Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany seeing some of that rain. This is the initial spin, but we're keeping an eye back toward the west with that next area that we'll work in. This is tomorrow. Ukraine, Poland, seeing some of that rain. Belarus, it's going to be picking up again, swinging back toward parts of Russia. Lithuania will get some heavier rain on Friday. But here comes that next system that works in this weekend. That'll start to dive in as we get into the weekend. You can see that rain really picking up as we swing into Sunday, jumping ahead in time, going from Sunday into Monday. This works across. There's the heavier rain. There's the heavier weather. Again, we have the heat around, right? So this area moves right into that, and that gives us that chance of some bigger thunderstorms, not only a severe weather threat with damaging winds, but that flood potential. That's why I mentioned some of those higher rain totals that will be possible. All right, let's get down to the south as we get into some different areas. Just to orient you, here's Bulgaria, get over towards Slovakia. Here's Germany, Switzerland, swinging back toward Italy. This would be by Monday again. Some spots upwards of 200 millimeters of rain where we get the storms, and where we get it, we could get some spots that get even higher amounts. I mentioned Poland, Czechia, Austria, right on the edge of Slovenia, Croatia, we could get a couple storms, monitoring that as we work our way into Monday. So let's track this system as it starts to work in. This again is today. We're shooting back to today with this broad spin, areas of rain, watching that. Even over toward Turkey, some scattered areas of storms. Stray one possible as we get toward North Macedonia, Albania, swinging back toward Bulgaria, Serbia, a couple storms. Same thing as we work our way into tomorrow, some of the storms working off toward Ukraine. So not only some rain here, but some storms that will be around, even swinging back toward parts of Italy, hit or miss storm. But as we work our way toward the weekend, of course, very hot. We have the heat in place, watching some of the rain near Belarus, but the next system is about to move in, and it moves into this heat. I mentioned Madrid earlier. This area swings right in. This is Sunday into Monday, and then look at those storms flaring up, moving across Switzerland, Northern Ireland, Czechia, Austria, and this is going to keep us active Monday into Tuesday of next week. Bigger rain totals, parts of Germany, Poland, watching out for that severe weather threat and those very high rain totals that could lead to quick runoff and that potential of flooding. Now, Spain and Portugal, not a whole lot the next few days as far as rain is concerned. We have the heat in place as we swing our way into the weekend, but let me swing around where we have some of that rain, and you can see the big difference as we work our way back toward England. Not a ton, better chance Northern Ireland, of getting some spots around 25 millimeters of some rain. Then we swing back toward Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Slovakia, especially where we get some storms. Again, a lot of action kind of rotating around today. Serbia over toward Romania, scattered areas of rain. Few spots could get upwards of 50 millimeters over the next couple days. Very hit or miss. Italy, for example, Bulgaria, but some bigger storms in Turkey where we get those scattered storms. 50 to 75 millimeters of rain will be possible, but Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, even Estonia totals not as high, but watching out for some spots. Northern Poland where we could get a few locations of 75 millimeters of rain. Southern Norway, Sweden, a couple of showers around. Finland, not as much, but again, next week, a better chance of some thunderstorms that will be swinging in. Let me switch to the tropical Atlantic, getting more active. Bigger tropical waves coming off the coast of Africa, monitoring that in that up and around pattern. This is the spot we'll be watching for the next system that will be swinging our way. Not tropical in nature, no doubt, but that's what will be coming our way. But the models, here's the European model, hinting at a little development over the next 10 days across the Atlantic basin. This and through here, back toward parts of the southeast U.S., a little bit of a spin. Keeping an eye on that. That's going to bring some tropical storm-like conditions back toward Louisiana as we work our way into the next couple days. The next name on the list is Dexter. And of course, as we get deeper into the hurricane season, we watch the up and around pattern. As these areas develop, we keep an eye on the remnants that may eventually head our way as big wind and even rainmakers at times. So very hot in many spots today. Then we have that larger spin that starts to dive toward Ireland and the UK as we work our way into the weekend. That'll bring some gustier winds as we work our way, especially deeper into the weekend across the UK and Ireland, and that higher flood threat and that severe weather potential as we work our way into next week. So we're going to see a lot of changes over the next few days. Giving you the heads up, again, it's going to get rocky for some of us Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week with some heavier totals and that chance of storms. Thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a good rest of your day.